know with what's going on.
The Garnet Old show, no inside info, no contacts, no problem, no candy, no problem over here. But Vince, you got candy.
We got lots of candy here. If you're in the area, you should come by. We're going to do this show, Ron. We're going to do this show no matter what. I am not in the Captain Black's Fishing Studios tonight, but I will say that if you're in the mood for some offshore fishing in the Panama City Beach area, check out Captain Black's. Family-oriented guy, and he will help you make some memories with your family. Captain Black's Fishing in Panama City Beach. But I'm not in the studio. I'm outside here in the driveway. Kids have already come by, and we've got some more coming by here in a moment.
Yeah, and Vince, I know inevitably background noise. You're outside, so we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it big.
Can you hear the background noise?
Yeah, a lot of it.
All right. Well, you keep going, and I will see what I can do here.
Cool. But I was gonna dress up for the show, but I felt like the record in this program is scary enough for our audience out there, where I did not need to additionally add to the frights of the season. So thank you guys for joining us. Hit the like and subscribe button for your boys Vince and Ryan, please. We'd love to have you part of the Garnet Old Show. Join the YouTube channel, which next week we'll be doing a extra show for our members. We're going to do it at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time next Thursday. So please become a member, hang out with us. But Vince, it's funny when you suck this bad, it feels like forever ago that Miami happened.
Yeah, I watched the show. I watched your show from last week. I had no delusions of that game going any other way than it did. But yeah, I had no delusions of winning that game. I didn't really feel any stress or anxiety about that game, which is so unlike me. Usually when I go into a game, especially that game or a game against the Gators, it's like my stomach's in knots. Are we going to make a critical mistake? Whatever those things are that are going to turn the game. But I had none of that. I don't want to say that it didn't matter, but it kind of didn't matter.
Almost lost my audio there for a second on the ground. Yeah, it was so disinteresting to me, Vince, from the very beginning that I was sitting there using this the whole time that I was playing, that I was watching the Miami game. For those of you who don't know, this is the PlayStation Portal and allows you to remote play to your PS5 and allows you to play college football. So while Miami was handily beating Florida State, I was sitting there with this guy and I was beating Miami badly with Florida State. Because if the team sucks, you got to live vicariously through the video game. So when Florida State is bad, guess what? I'm still winning natties on EA Sports College Football. Takeaways. My biggest takeaway from the game is that Miami could have done a lot worse to us, and they went through the entirety of the experience of the game, ho-humming their way through. They didn't really have to do a lot. They essentially did the most boring, basic game plan of all time and still beat us handily. The only issue I have, and I'm gonna get your opinion on this, Vince. I didn't care for them going for two. It's not good sportsmanship. I don't usually throw the sportsmanship card out there. I don't mind if teams throw the ball in the fourth quarter, to pick up a first down or to get a touchdown when they're up big already. I don't mind that. Defend them better.
Right.
But I think the right thing to do when you're beating any team pretty handily is to just kick the extra point. So I didn't love that decision for them to go for two. How did that rub? Did that rub you the wrong way? It did for me.
Nah, I mean, Miami is going to, and they should. I mean, they should take every opportunity to make a statement. And the more points, for the common folk out there, the more points that they see on that side of the ledger, the better as far as they're concerned. And Cristobal said it. He's like, if anyone has any doubts about the trajectory of the programs in this state, today solved that. You should have no doubts about that at all. And I will say though that the game was never in doubt, and the game was um, not fun from our standpoint.
Yep.
But Miami didn't do whatever they wanted.
Hmm.
It was a shock to me. The defense played pretty well, and I'm not going to hang a banner for that, but it is something that I wasn't expecting. Um, Cam Ward looked pedestrian in that game.
How much of that, them playing well or the pedestrianness, do you think it was Miami just kind of knowing that they were not going to have an issue and they're just going through the motions? I mean, when Florida State was riding high, we had those games too. I mean, look at all of 2014, right? When you're just kind of like, yeah, we're just hanging around, and we'll know we'll turn it on when we need to get this win. That's the motive, the feeling I got from the Miami sideline is like it's like when they needed if it was fourth down and two, and it was like, yeah, normally they would go for it. They were just like, nah, you know what? We'll just punt. I didn't think that it was a defensive performance that led to them not scoring that much and Cam Ward not looking incredible. I think it was just them, going through the motions, not really
I,
too invested.
I disagree. I think that if they had their druthers, they would have scored at will through the air, especially. But they couldn't. Now they ran the ball and they ran the ball fine. And once they realized that was how it was going to work, then that's all they really cared to do. And I get that part of it, but um, they were not able to do what they wanted to do through the air. They just weren't. And I think that, like I said, I wasn't expecting that. Um, and so I will take a little bit of, you know, solace in that. Not really solace, but I'll take that as a positive, right? Hey, you don't think Cristobal and that fan base and that staff would want to hang 70 on us? They absolutely would want to do that.
I don't think
Um,
they called the game as if they wanted that.
yeah, I disagree. I mean, Cam Ward dropped back a lot and was under pressure a lot and got sacked a lot. So it
But I
wasn't.
think that's poor coaching. Can I tell you why?
Of course, you can tell me why.
So if you were watching the film and just as third party, I'm just sitting back, I'm a fan, right? They could run the ball at will, right up the middle, and get 8 yards almost on every play. If I was Mario Cristobal, and this kind of goes back to how I feel that he's might not be, he gets in his own way sometimes. If it's clear that the running game is a no brainer, no problem on every play, uh, they went to it a shockingly low amount based on the success rate. And I think if they had just laid it on us on the ground, I think they would have scored 14 more points minimum. I think this was kind of like, we're going to do Cam Ward because it's Cam Ward. And so let's throw Cam Ward instead of, oh, how is FSU playing us? They have pretty good corners. Let's just run the ball because they can't stop us. I go back to Cristobal just not being my cup of tea on game management. Man, they were running at will on this defensive line, and I would have done that all night. I would have run it down run it down our own throats if I was calling the game.
Well, there's no doubt that he's not. He doesn't impress me
Right?
as a game day coach. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Never has. I mean, he's got elite top level talent this year that's been rented, and we did the same thing for a few years, right? And that's what's getting him through. Um, you're right. If he was a smarter coach, he
Yep.
probably should have just kept it on the ground.
Right.
But that's not what they were. They wanted to do something different, and they couldn't. That's my point.
He
They
did a Mike
couldn't do it.
Norvell.
They couldn't do it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
they did a Mike Norvell at the beginning of the year. I'm
um,
going to do it just because I want to do it because that's what I do. That's what the Gary plan was for them.
yeah. So the Miami game over and done with. You predicted 55-10, I think you said, and mine was less than that, but it ended up being the score ended up being more reasonable than I thought it would have been.
Yeah, it should have been the 7 points is what kills me. I mean,
Yeah.
so here's what's funny, Vince. Let's have a little fun because it's a special episode. It's Halloween. What's your favorite Halloween movie, Vince?
Halloween movie, or just like around
Special,
Halloween,
anything.
or
Yeah. What do you do?
like a horror movie or whatever.
No, it doesn't. It can be a fun Halloween thing, a special. There's a lot of different kinds of Halloween experiences
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. I'm not really sure that I have one, but I'm a big fan of the Snoopy stuff. So the Great Pumpkin is one of my favorites. Um, but I'm not really. I was never really into like horror movies or
Sure.
slasher movies or anything like that. So
Nice. I'll go with two choices. One's new, but Hocus Pocus,
oh
always a
yeah,
good one. That's a tradition.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a favorite.
that's my generation. I mean, that's what I grew up with. But new, Vince, highly recommend Agatha. It was Agatha
Oh, I've
all
heard
along.
about that too. Yeah,
It was so good because if you follow along the MCU, you expect to just watch it and be done with it. But I told Kristen it's so good that it's going to become an annual thing. Like I want to rewatch the series every
right,
Halloween. It has all the feels. It has the charm, and it's not like overly scary or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun romp and casting really well. I mean, they had so many good characters
right.
and actors. Ooh, look, we got a super chat. Let's shout out Peter. Not sure why we don't press with the athletic cornerbacks. Let's just the favorite horror flick the 2024 season. So I want to address this, Peter.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you, man. Third down on the regular, we're just like we're gonna play zone and we're gonna be off coverage.
yeah,
I don't. When your corners are good, we would on first and second down play press coverage, and then on third and what was it, 3rd and 28 or whatever that one play,
yeah. 3rd and 20.
we'll just play zone, which we're terrible at. Just play man and bring pressure. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the play calling. Now what's funny is Mike Norvell. Now, if you go with my prediction, we'll talk about that a little later. But if we go with Vince's prediction, Mike Norvell is going to fire quite a few assistant coaches, and good chance Adam Fuller happens to be one of them. But what's funny is, if it wasn't the head coach making that decision, the offenses look much worse than the defense. So I'm sure Adam Fuller is dusting off his resume. And I don't think he's a bad defensive coordinator. I don't think he's going to be cream of the crop, Power Five leading the way. But I think he's going to land somewhere and be a good defensive coordinator. And I actually think Alex Atkins in a smaller school would be relatively good. But man, it's frustrating on those long down and distances that we cannot get off the field, Vince.
And it's always something different. It's someone holding because the play took too long, right? I think
Yeah,
was what happened this past game. Or there's an illegal substitution. There's always and there are times where the team actually makes the play, right? So
yeah,
it is very frustrating. We went from third and what was the guy's name? The defensive coordinator before, third and Kelly,
yeah,
to now we're third and Fuller. So it is frustrating because they'll play well for 2 downs and really put themselves in a good spot, and they can't cash it in.
yeah.
Um,
I'm about done with the buckle your seatbelt while there's a penalty on the field.
yeah, but that's everybody. That's not just us.
I know. It's just I hate
That's
it.
yeah, it's not just us. But yeah, I heard your take on the coaching stuff. You're really trying to drive this home. There's always a possibility that if things completely bottom out worse than they are now,
Like no
that
wins the rest of the
no,
year.
no wins the rest of the year, that a drastic thing. There's always that, but I'm telling you, the chances of that are ridiculously slim for a couple different reasons. One, the dollars. We can say that if people get angry enough, they will pony up to the bar. It's not me ponying up $10 million, Ryan. It's not you. Like all these people that are on media or in posts and stuff saying, you know, we need to get rid of Norvell. We need to do this. But most of those people aren't the ones stroking that check. So,
Hey,
um, but there are people that have that money. If they get angry enough, they might do it. You never know. But here's the other reason why. He just went 13-1,
doesn't matter.
and he just went 10-3. It absolutely matters. It absolutely matters. You get rid of Willie Taggart. He never won anything. So that's why that happened so quickly. And by the way, that was only, what was it, 17 million or whatever it was. You compound 64 million with the fact that he just went 10-3 and 13-1. There is no way the university, fiscally responsible, is going to make that kind of decision. Now, next year, if we're 3-9, 4-8,
Hmm.
yeah, then
So I have
it's
a
I think
question.
it's all on the table.
I have a question for you, Vince.
Yeah.
We would owe him 60 something million this year if we fired him, right?
Yep.
He sucks next year. We fire him next year. Still owe him 50 something million.
Yeah.
So the real question and the difference of opinion here is, I think your scenario takes into account the success he's had despite a devastating record,
This
saying
year.
he has earned the right to try one more year, and that the thought and process behind keeping him, despite the high buyout, would be that he likely could turn it back around. Because if you didn't believe that, then 65 million to 58 million, is it really that much of a difference? It's still a lot of money next year or this year. It wouldn't matter. It's a lot of money. So you're going based on the opinion that if they keep him, that, and even with a collapse, if they keep him, that would be based upon many feeling that he could turn it around. Yes,
Yeah, I mean that would be the reason. That would be the reason because if you
that's
know,
not why I'm on the opposite side. I have lost all faith. I
well,
do
you
not believe
have,
it.
but I don't. I don't believe that there are enough people that stroke the real money checks have that same feeling. I don't
So
believe that to be the case. As a
even
matter of
if we
fact,
lost to Charleston Southern,
yeah, I mean, you might get one or two people that change their mind at that point, but we're not talking about small amounts of money here, Ryan. And it's not like the university isn't already tied up with many other financially impactful things. Um, it is fiscally the right thing to do because he has a record of success, recent track record, to see what could happen in another season. And I believe that's what they're going to do. He definitely has to clean house to a large degree with the staff that he has, and I think that's going to be something that they're going to expect him to do.
here's my issue with that. There becomes a point with not winning another game if you win one game the whole season, where even some of the worst teams in college football can win more than one game. If that were to happen, hypothetically, with the loss to Charleston Southern included in that, my argument would be you couldn't afford to keep him another year because it would ruin your program to a point. And if you let him fire everyone, all you're going to do is hire a bunch of coaches for top dollar because you want some top tier assistant coaches with fresh contracts, and you're just going to add to the suffering when it comes time to let go of all the coaches. So what's more expensive? Fire if you don't believe he's the guy at the end of the season, if he doesn't win another game, firing him and the current crop of coaches, or next year saving $8 million on his contract, but you just hired a bunch of assistant coaches, so you probably owe them more.
I mean, that's the decision when you have to realize, like, when does that scale tip, right? When is it not fiscally responsible to keep throwing money at a bad money at a problem?
Let's
And,
get to
and
the funsies part, though.
we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Let's get to
Believe
the
it or
fun.
not, people, we're not there yet.
Let's say I'm right. Or you're right. You think there's a 0% chance Dion would be a contender for the job?
The 0% chance, no.
He's done against my best judgment and what I thought would happen. He's done well this season.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into a large Dion discussion, mostly because it's it there's no substance to it yet, and I don't know that there ever would be. I don't believe. Do I think Dion is doing better than what we expected him to? Yes. Do I also think that he's probably a good recruiter? Yes. Do I think that he is in anything for the long haul or in anything other than for himself? Absolutely not. I don't need that kind of transient mentality leading our program. I don't need it. I don't care what he's done.
Yeah, I don't see it exactly the same way. There are aspects I agree with you on full heartedly. He does love him. He does love Deion Sanders. Does love Deion Sanders. But once his kid has graduated, um, I could see a real
I feel
scenario
like my eyes are getting worse on Halloween.
where he wants to be at a
So
school for a good long
beautiful.
time, and he wants to put down roots, and it's his alma mater. And he could talk all the crap he wants in the background. You know, he's gonna. We can agree that he would put his name out there for the job behind closed doors.
I don't care if he does that or not. I mean, I would, I'll put my name in the hat.
Yeah, but he has a lot more pull than a lot of other people with.
Well, I understand that, but of course there are going to be hundreds of people that put their name in the hat.
Yes, but if Mike Norvell runs this program into a mountain, which we'll get into recruiting a little bit here in a second, because it looks like that's happening. Um, and you need a quick turnaround because you want to get into another play in another conference, and you want to compete in another conference, and you have a new stadium to open. Who better to fill the seats, meritless or not, than Dion and all the recruits he inevitably would get to come here?
What are we doing though? What are we doing?
I would be for it at this point.
Well, you would be, but why? Because you think success is going to fall, or just
I
because
do.
you think there's going to? Yeah, but what kind of success? Is it like? Is it
More than
like?
1 in 11.
Okay, but to me, there's not. That's not enough.
I think he could get in the playoffs.
I'm a long term person. Like I need someone. We need someone in this program that has not only the abilities, the abilities to lead young men, X's and O's, recruit, hire the right staff, and hold them accountable for the things that they're supposed to do, which includes high level recruiting, by the way,
Yeah.
and
Well,
cares about the university and the program and the history and all that stuff. Dion doesn't care about that.
I think that's a
He doesn't care
old.
about it, Ryan.
No, I understand, but I think what you're looking for doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You got Jimbo Fisher, great recruiter, can't lead a dog to water. You have Willie Taggart, supposed to be a good recruiter. That's what we were told. People thought he was a joke, even in the own locker room. And now you have Mike Norvell. If you want to talk about hiring the right coaches and all that kind of recruiting, so we have the last three coaches, Vince, since Bobby Bowden. Uh, Mike Norvell is probably the closest thing to being a leader as far as like being a good human being and wanting the best, like getting his guys on the right track in life. But this is a winning sport, not a life sport always, especially in the modern era. But none of them, all three, terrible assistant coaches across the board. Ton of them. Uh, one of them, elite recruiter. One of them, nothing. And one of them, a leader. So I really think what you're looking for is like the old mentality of like, we want a guy who knows us and loves us and wants to be here for the long term. I don't think that exists anymore in modern college football.
Well, let's define long term.
When I say long term, someone who intends, who is capable of leading a team, recruiting at a high enough level to be at Florida State, and wants to be around. I don't think that combo is so rare That's why there's so few coaches who are every year, 11-win teams making the playoffs on the regular. It's so rare. Most teams fall in that range of great recruiter, not a great coach, horrible human being, really talented X's and O's. You get a lot of the I got 50% of the traits you want.
I get it. Not everybody has got a total package,
Right.
right? But if you get someone like say, there's an old song, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
I
If you
think
get
Dion can recruit and bring in some talented coaches, assistant coaches here.
how long is he going to be willing to do what's required of a head coach at a university and stay at that? How long before he gets bored, right? How long, Ryan?
I
What
actually
is
think
it in your mind you say, I would like Dion,
Yep.
Are you saying you would take him for a year, and if he left
No, that
after
would
a
not
year?
happen.
Okay. What about 2? If he's here
So
for 2 years and then he wants to leave, that's fine with me.
my thoughts are, I think his own. No, I don't. It's not like I know the guy and have coffee with him, so I don't know him intimately. But I think his end goal was to get to a big time school that is capable of winning championships every year. Now, he couldn't go straight from the FCS level to Alabama. So instead, he took a Colorado job. He was either Colorado or USF. That was the rumored 2 options. He had to take one. He went to Colorado, brought his son there, the whole 9 yards. They're
By the
winning the
way,
lot
I
of
said
games.
I said I didn't want to get into a long
This will be the last part of it, though. So I think he went to Colorado to prove he could win at a higher level than an FCS team. He's doing that this year. I thought they would be at this point a 2-win team. Honestly, when I'm looking at what I predicted for their schedule, he's outperforming that by miles. There's one game that they lost by 3, so they've only had one that was like, yeah,
Sure.
they got beat.
They didn't play a lot of great teams.
I think he wants to prove that he can be an elite coach at an elite school, and I think if he came to Florida State, he would want to be here long term.
I disagree with you. I don't know him either, but when when you don't know someone like personally, you have to go by their actions and the things they say. That's the only things you can go by. He doesn't strike me. He doesn't strike me as someone that is about the program. That's all.
You can
That's
go
all.
by the law of averages and say what does the average big time school coach last in the modern college football era, and I would guess it would be somewhere in the 4 to 5 year range on average. That seems about right, just based on hirings and firings, and I think you could get that out of them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not. I wouldn't want to sign up for the circus. Florida State already has a circus. We don't need another one. Let's shout out some people in the chat.
Yeah, we already shouted out Peter, who thank you very much for the super chat.
Yeah,
Really
Peter,
great
thank you
for doing that. I do want to shout out Kenny Trill, always watching our show. Appreciate you, Kenny. Fatal Jedi again. Douglas.
You guys are
they're always
diehards, man. You guys are diehards, especially considering this dumpster fire that we're in. By the way, numbers are down across the board, people. It's not just our show. It's like, but we love talking about the team, good or bad, and I know you guys do too. If you wouldn't mind, if you're watching on X, hop over to YouTube, like the show, and subscribe if you don't mind, and then hop on back to X to watch it.
Let's talk this week's game, unfortunately.
You want to go to recruiting real quick or not before we talk about recruiting?
Let's just say it's bad. A lot of decommitments.
A lot of decommitments. It's not going to go well, people.
And Mike's answer when asked about his focus and all that was, we'll go out and get elite talent in the transfer portal.
Yeah. He also needs to go out and get elite recruiting talent for his staff.
Here's an interesting question, Vince. I don't think you'd be interested. Would you hire Jimbo Fisher as an offensive coordinator and let him go recruit?
Not the way he left this program and the way he treated people. No, absolutely.
That's all I just wanted it yesterday. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, North Carolina.
You knew that, though. You knew my answer.
Oh, yeah. It's my answer, too. Spoiler, I'm predicting a loss this week.
Yeah, me too.
North Carolina actually played well last week, which is great. I think let's go with I'm just going to repeat, let's go with the history. 35-10. because that's pretty much what a lot of these games have been. That's my prediction. I don't have a whole lot of predictions as far as keys to the game because I think at this point it doesn't matter. The only win you have on your schedule right now that you better hope you win is Charleston Southern.
Yeah, 31-17. The Noles will.
17 points. You're giving us credit for 17
Well,
points.
where does that come from? There's a field goal in there, so
Yeah.
and there might be a defensive score. So one offensive touchdown, a defensive score, and then a field goal. And the Noles will not hit 300 yards in total offense. I mean, until they do, that's what I'm going to predict. And I'm not trying to be negative, people. I'm just. This is
There's
just
reason
what.
to be.
This is just no. This is not. This is just factual, logical. Like I'm not trying to say that to be Debbie Downer. Could things happen in a positive trek this weekend? Sure, but they're not automatically going to learn how to run the ball well, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to just turn that switch. That switch is for next year, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
for this
hopefully.
year. But
I do. I have some other stuff that
Yeah.
besides Florida State talk because we're both predicting a loss. I expect I'll be very ho hum about the game, just kind of flipping through things while I'm packing up boxes because I'm moving, guys. So yeah, I know we already talked about in other shows. Today was actually my last day at my current role. I start my new gig Monday.
Florida State head coach.
Yeah, I wish. Remotely, I'm starting until the move is complete. I'm moving to the Mount Dora area, which is gorgeous. If you've never been there, really pretty.
A lot of crafting and antiquing in the Mount Dora.
And festivals and woods and it's small town USA like feels. If you guys have never been, especially if you want to work in Orlando, you don't want to live in the city.
Yeah.
It's stressful, but if you live off one of the expressways, which Mount Dora is right off of, they actually finally connected it all the way through. No problem getting into the city if you have an expressway right next to you. But I have some. Let's talk about some fun stuff. We're going to get off Florida State for a minute. We're a Florida State show, but we're also
Fonte, go Noles. Agreed.
We're also like to talk other stuff. So I'm gonna nerd out a little bit, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about buying that Mac Mini that was announced this week.
Oh my God, we're totally going off the deep end here, huh?
What else? There's.
Well, before we get to other stuff, right? I am going to be at the game this weekend. Okay, and let's talk about that.
How many people will be here? Do you think?
The fans haven't stopped showing up to the game. They haven't. Will there be less fans than the last time? Sure, there will be. But the fans have been showing up. We're going to have a big tailgate in Lot 7 this week.
Which lot is that?
That's the one right next to Chiefs Field.
You had to buy that, yeah?
I had to trade. I had to trade to get that one. But that's where we'll be. We'll have a huge tailgate. We're going to have about 30 people there with us, and the Chiefs are going to be doing their early morning practice right there. And then I will be also broadcasting Skull Session. This is my commercial for that.
What time is the game, Vince? I honestly don't know.
The game is at 3:30. The Skull Session broadcast will start about, was that 1:45, 2:40? About 1:45. Yeah, about 1:45. So if you're not going to the game, please tune into that. A lot of people are really enjoying that. And if you are going to go to the game, come stop by Lot 7 and come hang out a little bit. I mean, if we're going to enjoy, or if we're all going to wallow in our sorrows, we should do it together.
Isn't it sad that I didn't know the time?
No, it's not sad.
It's kind of because not once this week have I been like, oh, what's up with Florida State going on?
Mosquitoes are out in force, man. Why are mosquitoes, man, in October? Come on, man.
It's still warm out. You know the answer to that. It's still too warm. We haven't gotten a cold front since that one came through like 2 weeks ago.
We're a little light on the trick-or-treaters tonight.
The only cold front we've gotten in Florida this year is the one that drove a hurricane right through the middle of the state. So
That's right.
That's the kind of luck we have right now here in the state of Florida. But yeah, I'm very disheartened by my lack of excitement to even go into a game week because you look forward to it all year. And man, we were definitely looking forward to it. You had the Dublin game, and everything was supposed to
No.
be.
Hey, Ryan, you're right, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to wish away the games.
That's my point.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to them.
Yeah, my
Because
point is I will watch every game, but it hurts me that I don't care as much
yeah,
because of
no, I
how
got it.
terrible they look.
I got it.
The product on the field is that bad.
Yep. All right, let's off of Florida State football. This is like a members only topic.
Yeah, maybe let's talk tech for a little while.
Yeah.
For those of you who have ever been interested in owning an Apple device for a computer, I've always recommended friends and family, and they're like, "How much is a Mac?" And they always think that's like the super pricey, like $2,000. And sure, you can get there.
Yeah.
You can get there with
Take
a
more.
you can get there
Yeah.
with a MacBook Pro. You can get there with a with an iPad Pro. But I've always recommended to my friends and family and everyone that want a Mac but have never purchased one. And Vince, I muted you while they were up.
Yeah,
But
I
there you
got
go,
you.
you're
I
back.
got you. I'm solo here right now.
I've always recommended people who have a monitor and keyboard and mouse and already to get a Mac Mini. Guys, a brand new Mac, well spec'd. Vince, you bought an M1 the second I told you about the M1.
Yep.
Well,
I got
they're on M4
an
now.
M1 Pro. Yeah.
They're on M4 now. And now, for the first time ever in a Mac, they're shipping with 16 gigs of RAM to start with.
Yeah, base configuration, yeah.
With a ton of USB-C ports and 3 monitor support, which is big because our M1s don't support 3 monitors.
Not only that, Ryan, I know you're getting to all the specs here, but that Mac Mini is less than 4-inch square.
Yeah.
It's tiny. It's like Apple
tiny.
TV size.
Which is awesome because you can kind of just put it out of the way. And for the first time ever, they've put ports on the front of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna buy one because it's $599, guys. Like if you're an Apple guy, $599, you're like, what are we doing?
Listen, you can't buy that. You have to save your money for the buyout.
No, I'm trading in a device I already have. I have a Mac Mini. I've had one in a while. But yeah, trade it in, and I'm excited about it. Now, one thing I want to make fun of Apple for, they released an updated Magic Mouse where the charging port is still on the bottom.
Yeah.
What are we doing there, Vince?
That's like stubbornness. That's like rolling DJU out for the 5th consecutive game.
I couldn't believe it. Now, I'm one of these guys. I know I'm the weird one. I'm a trackpad guy.
Yep. I've got a trackball, so that's what I use. So.
And most people hate trackpads, but I love it. Multi-touch and all that. Especially if you're doing podcasting, it's just easy to swipe and get back and forth to things. But Vince, yeah, I'm gonna be running my default podcasting setup off of that. And what's exciting is, in about a month, when I'm fully moved into the new place, we have 3 bedrooms here, Vince, and so I'm kind of in like this weird transition area in this house, where it's essentially just a dining room, and then behind us is the back door, the screen and porch. In the new place, it's a 4-bedroom, which means I'll have an actual office.
Good for you.
Which means I'll have a blank canvas behind me, which means I can actually put stuff back there.
Yeah.
If I put stuff back here, I wouldn't be able to go outside.
Ooh, you're going to have Captain Black's Fishing Studios South.
Yes, and I might use that old banner, the old logo, just for nostalgic sake. I'm going to get some Logitech lights to go up and down. So I'm going to make a whole studio out of it, and I'll finally be able to do so. This has been a terrible setup for me behind here because there's just it's just a dining room and a bar area.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about the space to have dedicated office.
You're going to explore the space.
Yeah. I'm going to do Pilates,
Play some cowbell.
Yeah. It's going to be nice.
That's good, man. You have to let me know how I'm not in the market for a new machine. I love the machine I have, but it's quite the value. I'm going to recommend that to people as well that are looking for a new machine. Man,
Three,
$599 for that is ridiculous.
4K monitor support.
Happy Halloween.
So to be able to run 4K monitors at the same time, or one 8K and two 4Ks,
Yeah,
it's just I never thought we'd be here.
yeah.
Great times. But Vince,
Let's you ready to wrap?
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Let's go ahead. It's Halloween. It's a little bit of a shorter show. There's not a lot. It's a lot of depressing. We're gonna enjoy the holiday.
Yeah,
I haven't had a
listen.
single knock at my door.
I appreciate all of you diehards that are here.
Mhm.
You guys are with us from day one to day infinity. Halloween doesn't matter. You guys are always here, and I appreciate that. And because of that, I'm going to tell you, we have some positivity for this weekend. Have some positivity. You never know what can happen. I until it happens, I'm going to be, uh, what's the word? Skeptical. But you never know. It is a home game, and wouldn't that be something, Ryan? If next week you and I are talking about, the second win of the season.
Yeah, that was yeah. I hope so.
We'll see.
Until Vince does his Tuesday election special show. Just your decision 2024 with
That's
Vince
not
Ciccarelli.
that's not what I'm going to do.
You're
I'm
gonna
going to
have the
avoid
map.
that.
You're gonna have the interactive map where you're tapping the counties.
Yes, I'm going to tap the counties. You can see, and then I'm going to have it's going to turn red, and then we're going to do like an electoral vote. If these go here, and this is going to happen, and yeah, it'll be good. Don't don't expect that to happen. By the way,
Little heads up to everyone. Just go to bed that night and wake up and find out what happened the next day.
yeah,
It's pretty rare that you know by 10 o'clock, unless you're the rare occasion where it's a blowout. So just go to bed. That's what I do. And then we'll all be in either one type of hell or another the next morning.
that's right. You got to pick. You pick the
Yeah.
hell you want to be in. So
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, everyone, screw ESPN. Send Chiefs and Halloween all the damn time.
send Chiefs all the damn time. And if you are going to be at the game this weekend, look for me. Lot 7.
Absolutely. So, like always, it's Thursday night. It's Garnet and Old. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. Go Noles, everyone.
Go Noles.